Sup everyone. Now today is a lovely day, though I'm totally lying about that. It's actually raining and quite grey, but still quite nice. Now I'm sorry for not uploading a video yesterday, because I said a while ago, you know, I'm committed every day, one video talking about ADHD, autism, or something as such, something relevant in terms of neurodiversity. But yesterday I just had like an extra hour of practice for band practice, and I've had a couple of audition tapes this week, so I was pretty exhausted. And when I came home, I was like, right, I'll just get a video done. And as soon as I walked upstairs, it was like all my strength was gone. I was done for the day. So to make up for that, I will be uploading 2 videos today, this being the first one. Now in this video, I'm going to be talking about the autistic trait of sensory input. Now, I'm saying sensory input, not just sensory difficulties, because it's quite varied, so we'll see how this one goes. And I'm watching time because I want to keep it under 10 minutes with all my videos. And if it's under 10 minutes, then great. But if I feel like there's more to say, then I might make the second video today also about sensory information, because it's well worth talk. And I'll go into every subject anyway, like in more depth in other videos. So before I get into it though, as I've said before, if you like the content, you want to see more, follow, like, comment, questions. If you have any requests for anything you want me to talk about, subscribe to the YouTube channel, repost the video, and that's all. So I'll just get into it. Now, if you have autism, or you know someone who has autism, or in general, if you just know about the condition at all, then probably one of the most common things to come up as an issue or challenge or difficulty, whichever phrase you want to use, is sensory information. Now, I'm gonna admit, when I was younger, I knew about sensory information, but I didn't understand it in terms of like, for me, for my autism, I didn't feel like I had any sensory issues. You know, there was nothing, there was no textures or anything that really affected me, and I didn't seem to have an overreaction, or at least I didn't think I did, to anything in particular related to the senses, so I didn't understand what people were talking about. As I've gotten older, I've understood that it's more complicated than what I thought it was. Now, to make it more clear, what I thought was what was meant by sensory issues in reference to autism was specifically like a sense of touch. You know, like you see in movies how it's portrayed. I think there's a good movie called The Accountant, where the guy is a hitman or assassin, I can't remember which, but he has autism. And it shows him as a kid, and it's like, and this is quite a common thing depending on where you are on the spectrum, he had to wear one particular t-shirt, only one, because it's the one that he felt comfortable in against his skin. He couldn't wear anything else. If his parents tried to make him change his shirt, then he'd start screaming and running around the house, and he'd have a full-blown like meltdown about it because he couldn't do it. Now, watch the movie, because there's actually a lot of interesting things to do with autism in there, and maybe I should do some videos talking about them. But that's what I thought it was. You know, it had to be that kind of reaction to it. It had to be a sense of touch, and it's like lots of people with autism tend to have things like safety blankets. And when I say safety blankets, I don't mean like a literal blanket. I mean it can be a hoodie or an item, usually an item of clothing or something as such, or a favorite shirt or jacket that when things get stressful or they feel overwhelmed, they put it on and suddenly they feel calm. It's kind of just like a method of like shutting off. It's like embracing yourself with something that just reassures you. Now, I don't have anything like that. However, as I've gotten older, like I said, I've realized the sensory issues are a lot more complicated than just the sense of touch. Because what it means is anything to do with the senses can be highly overwhelming for people with autism, whether they're low functioning or high functioning. And there's difference, because it'll either be, your reaction will be an overreaction, or you'll underreact, so like hyper or hypo sensitivity to certain sensory information. The reason for this is because the autistic brain can't, or struggles to process sensory input in any form, and we have 5 senses, you know, so that could be, and it's in reference to everything. Think about it, every day you're feeling things, you're seeing things, you're tasting things, smelling things. Any one of those can affect you, and of course it varies from individual to individual. So, and it's like some people with autism struggle with intense senses, and others actually seek out sensory stimuli. Now, it's hard to punch words because it's not just the sense of touch. It can be visuals, sense of smell, sense of taste. It can even be internal senses. So when we think of senses, it's probably very common to think of things as like external to your body, and then you touch them. You know, you touch something rough, it feels rough. You touch something smooth, it feels smooth. You smell something, that's sense coming from somewhere else. But it can also mean, in terms of sensory difficulties for people with autism, internal senses like hunger, which is actually a really common one. Now, I'm already realizing that this is going to be a subject I'm going to have to spend maybe 1 or 2 videos on, because it's very, very varied. After that, I'll move on to something else with autism, not just traits, like I've done with ADHD. So, now, in my case, I have realized that I do have sensory difficulties and issues that I hadn't really seen as anything relevant to autism when I was younger, because even around me, it was often portrayed you only have sensory issues if you have like a massive reaction to it, but or an underreaction. And if it's an overreaction to something, it's usually something like I'll have to use myself as an example. Now, I hate socks. Yeah, I despise them. There's something about the way they feel on my feet. If they're really, really like soft, you know, fluffy ones and warm, I like them. But if it's any other kind of sock, it's like, it's distracting. I will walk around all day trying to make myself not think about it, but I can feel it constantly. And it's hard to explain, but it really frustrates me. In the house, my brothers like have messed around with me before because they know about it, where they'll ball up like the socks together and they'll throw them at me. And even then, I'm like, I can't stand it. I can't stand them near my hands. I can't stand my face. Like when they throw them at me, I squirm away. It's just something with the autistic brain that struggles with this information. It also the autistic brain also tends to struggle with essentially like sifting out any unnecessary information when it comes to the senses. So things that aren't really relevant. And that's why people with autism have a kind of intense sensory reaction to things. So, and it's like with some other people I know, it's like a lot of time it's fabrics, you know, if something's soft and smooth, okay, it's calming, they can touch it, that's fine. If something's rough, it sets their nerves on fire. It feels like that, you know, it's just, you can't help it, you need to get it away from you. But like I said, it can be any one of the senses, like hearing, that's a very common one, loud noises. Now, I love loud noises, I really do, and my brothers do too, but my youngest brother, a lot of the time, and the one older than him, when they were especially smaller, it's like if a bus drove past when we were walking around, yeah, the sudden sound of the bus, they'd stop, they'd freeze, like they're terrified, and they'd cover their ears. And I'm not talking about like when they were toddlers, I'm talking about older than that. But it's that kind of reaction that you're talking about here. And like I said, there are also the inward reactions of like hunger and that, which is another thing I can bring up with my brother. Now, I'm checking time, I've already surpassed 8 minutes, and I haven't really gotten into the nitty-gritty of any of those. So I'm definitely going to make the second video today about this sensory information. I'm going to think about where I want to start, where I want to specify it, and we'll see where we go from there. But for this video, that's it. Now, if you want to check that out, then please follow, leave a like, comment, questions, requests in the comments. You know, if any come through before I do that video, I'll take that into account. Probably make a video just specifically about that. And yeah, like I said, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're interested, and repost the video. Until then, I will see you later, because I will upload the second video not too long, really, after this one's done. And yeah, and I just hope it's helpful, you know, and that's it. That's all I gotta say. Anyway, until then, I'll see you. Enjoy the next couple of hours. Bye.